Hey, it's your boy pretending it's JWa with Gardening with JWa. Today we're doing another Friday gardening vlog. I wanted to get a close-up. I mean, this is probably the best I can do. I wanted to get another close-up of some other flowers because the bees are active. It's actually warmed up quite a bit and the bees are very active. The only downside is in the late fall and early spring in Arizona. So like I have a bunch of stuff that has like pollinator friendly, right? Meaning I welcome the pollinators to come. But the downside is bees tend to be very hungry in the parts of the year where there's not a lot of flower activity. So I probably have a lot more than most, although you can't see it. I have a lot of little flowers. I let all the weeds go to flower. You know, this beginning part of the year, let me try to go to it so you actually can see something. This beginning part of the year where weeds come about, this beginning part of the year where weeds come about, I always let them flower and go to seed. I'm going to do a video talking about weeds. I know a lot of people have various thoughts. I use them in a particularly interesting way because I just have, like, you know, if you go out the berm and I just go here, I just have like hard deadpan, like, you know, soil. There's nothing much going on there. So I use weeds for various forms to help assist me in changing the landscape of my soil and the foundation of my soil. But I'll get into that more later as more weeds start popping off. But because it's so early spring or late winter for us in Arizona, bees don't have a lot of sources. So because of that, I always find bees tend to be a little bit more aggressive. Not in a like bad, I'm gonna, you know, hurt you kind of way, unless you mess with them. Oh, look at this. This is a pea plant, just let wild, but we had a late frost. So it the parts that were exposed got clapped out. So this is like probably the hardest time of year because you'll also notice you'll get an increased fly pressure because as it warms up, flies and other insects come back, right? And so because of that, flies and bees kind of sound similar when they're flying. So you're kind of like when you're walking outside and there's a fly, you tend to have a tendency to swat at it, right? You just like, fly, swat at it. Unfortunately, you gotta be really careful because it's not always a fly. Sometimes it's a bee, and there's a lot of bees out in the yard. So bees will fly by your head and stuff like that. Normally, they'll leave you alone, but at this time, because they're hungrier and there's less food resources, they have a tendency to be a little bit more easily aggravated. So you don't wanna go swishing and swashing around. I have a hat with the insect net because I don't care if a fly gets on my like shoulder or something, but I hate it when they buzz to my face. And I don't have my insect net hat out right now. So I left that in the garage. But that's how I combat that, so I don't have to do it. I wanted to get closer, but I was trying to take pictures because my Sherry Loquat, I'm gonna get to it, is all in bloom. Look at that. Like, it's just sequentially blooming. Like, you can see the old ones that I originally showed, how they're like, the petals are falling off and then new ones are opening up. The bees are all over this. So I'm gonna step away. And I was trying to get some good pictures of the bees and really good close-ups. So the bees are kind of annoyed with me being in their space. So I'm gonna give them space. I will say this, I don't know if you guys have had this experience as you guys as in other gardeners. In Arizona, bees towards the end of the season and towards the beginning of the season can be a little aggressive, meaning you don't want to piss them off. You know, they're more quick to, you know, get upset or kind of chase you a little bit. I haven't gotten stung ever. But in the springtime when the food's flowing and like all these citruses will be full of blooms, this guy who's now like deciduous will be full of blooms. This is a spicy nectarplum. I'm trying to get straight. It had 3 main trunks. I'm trying to just make it be 1 trunk, which is why it looks so crooked. So I'm trying to get this guy to be straight. But this thing is gonna be loaded with blooms. Bees are gonna be all over it. All the fruits are gonna be loaded with blooms. Bees are gonna be all over it. The reason I keep my Indian green jujube or Thai green giant, whatever you want to call it, the reason I keep it is because when it does bloom, the bees love it. Unfortunately, if you look closely, you'll see the floor is littered with a bunch of little green jujubes because it's a tropical jujube. So all the jujubes fell off from the cold and the wind, but they're not ripe yet. So if you were to pick them and try to eat them, they would taste really bad. So unfortunately, I typically don't get a jujube harvest. It breaks my heart. Like, look at all these. See all these? All these jujubes that just fell all over the place. The floor is littered with them. And unfortunately, I don't know if there's even any on this tree still. I'm gonna have to cut it back. I know some people get this tree in here. Let me show you. I know some people get this tree to produce, you know, twice a year. For us, it always produces around this time. And because we're just a little further out than typical Arizona, we always get hit with the frost and it takes it all off. So it's an unfortunate situation, but it is what it is. Man, I gotta put this in the ground. It's in a pot still. At this point, I might just spread the seeds. Just spread the seeds, little honeysuckles shoot up. So yeah, this today has definitely been more of a ramble day. I had various thoughts. Oh yeah, beautiful. I gotta put this in the ground too. I had various thoughts, and obviously I stuck to none of my original plans of what I was gonna make this video about. I guess this video is really just to say, hey, how's it going? And the garden's starting to wake up. The garden is starting to wake up, which is super awesome. And I gotta be careful though, because I spent so much time trying to get a good picture that I got chased a little bit by the bees. So now I'm kind of flabbergasted or like thrown off. And I don't really know how to continue on. So I'm gonna keep this one a super short one to this week. Going forward though, there's definitely some stuff I want to talk about. That would be pruning back some of my trees, because as you know, a lot of it's deciduous, painting the trunks, the weeds, and then which trees I'm gonna let fruit, and so on and so forth. So there's definitely some themes I wanna make sure I cover in the upcoming videos. But right now, only thing that's popping is obviously I got some citrus going, and then flowers are blooming. The Moro blood orange, if I can get in here. Look at that, still more of those guys. The Moro blood orange, I don't know how well you guys can see this, but it is starting to get this dark pigment right here. Right here, starting to get this dark pigment. So this guy, whoo, he would be really red if I were to cut him open. 120% he would be red if I cut him open. But he's not gonna be super duper dark red yet. I'm thinking beginning first week of February, I'm gonna be able to crack this boy open, and he's gonna get a pretty good color. And hopefully I can show that to you guys. You guys see that beautiful pigment. All right, well, you know, I'll keep it here. Like I said, I'm gonna keep it short. I'm still honestly kind of thrown off from the bees, which will happen. Sometimes you kind of have something happen in the garden and you're a little off kilter, but I didn't want to not make a video. I want to keep to making my videos and the like. So I'll see you guys later. It's your boy, JWa. You guys have fun. Happy Friday.